Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. Or start to it, or, I don't know. I think a lot of you have already started your day. It's the start of my day. So, this is the part of the show where we cover a little bit about what it is. First and foremost, everything expressed on this is my own opinion, my own thoughts. They do not reflect on that of my company that I work for currently, in the past, or in the future. These are just my thoughts. Um, Also, on top of that, I'd like to talk to you guys just really quickly about this show. I know that there's a lot of you that actually absolutely love it, and I love you guys. But that being said, I do believe, I'm not entirely sure, that YouTube likes it. And I don't know that it likes it with my other content. I actually notice. So I've actually been playing around with the idea of actually pushing this news segment onto its own channel. Would you guys be okay with that? And just streaming, basically doing all the live stuff on like a channel for just live stuff. I have one where every once in a while I stream just me coding whenever I want. Maybe I can just put it on that one. It's like engineering, Merrick Engineers. I don't know. I don't really remember what it's called. We can find out really quickly. 1 second. Engineering with Merrick. Yep. We can just do it on there or make a channel just for it. I'm not sure. That being said, I also did a live stream this last Saturday. It was a community stream. I'm going to be doing it every single month, either on this channel or on the live streaming channel. Again, we can sort that out. I'm thinking about it. I want your guys' feedback. Please leave me a comment, talk in the Discord. We can talk about it on whether we make a channel for live streaming or just do it how I've been doing it. If you notice today, I actually added a tag of live at the top. Hopefully that helps people. But I find that most of the time I just end up hiding this live content, a week after. And so, anyways, thought I'd talk to you guys about it because that's kind of what this live streaming is. It's a time for me to reach out to you guys. Okay, so let me know your thoughts on that, and we'll move forward with that. But that being said, once a month we're going to hack. There was people on the Discord, which was really cool. Thank you all who actually joined. It was a fun learning experience. You got to see me stumble around. Next month, I promise to have the Discord audio looped in. If you want to join, you're more than welcome to, and follow around and maybe learn something with us. Good morning, Russell. All right, so let's get into the news. It's not super organized because there were about 1,000,000,001 things, about 1,000,000,001 things going on. A lot of security things. So there was a lot of security things, and wanted to cover them. I think I actually got rid of a lot of stuff this week because there was just so many things going on. Nothing of them were major, just actually a bunch of things. So like I actually excluded the Target hack that came up. So Target got hacked in 2014, and they got hacked kind of the same way again. So yeah. Anyways, just random a bunch of crap happened. Maybe the most important thing, as you all know, I do Kubernetes release notes every single time there's a Kubernetes release. Now, you might know if you've been up on the schedule that I should have released something this next Wednesday. But the fact is, I am not being lazy, and the Kubernetes release was actually delayed. So the Kubernetes release is now scheduled for May 3rd. I generally try to have my release notes come out with the release of Kubernetes. Generally the same day, sometimes the day after, depending on how busy I am. So you can expect that then. I don't cover it in the news section because I actually dedicate a full video to the Kubernetes release notes for 124 with everything I'm excited about and the things I think are most interesting. So stay up to date for that one. Yes, Russell, I agree. The hacking stream was a ton of fun. You got to see me do some ridiculous things and get a little bit stressed out, and it was absolutely a ton of fun. I learned a lot. I've never really hacked before, so that was really my first experience in that. We're trying to learn security, and part of learning security is learning the other side. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We did Inclusion and Pickle Rick, I think, were the two that we did. You can go check that stream out. Let me know if you like it. Again, I don't know if I'm going to leave it up or if I need to upload it to a second YouTube channel. I really don't know. We need to figure that out, though, as a community. I want to figure it out as a community. All right, so maybe the biggest news of this week is this one right here. So there was a security alert attack. There was an attack campaign involving stolen OAuth user tokens issued to 2 third-party integrators. And these were Heroku, I think is how you pronounce it, and Travis CI. So basically, these 2 third parties OAuth tokens were compromised, and basically, if you have these OAuth applications running, you could also have been compromised. So this is actually pretty serious, and the reason I wanted to have it right here at the start of this conversation, you should, if you're running on GitHub and you have either of these, yeah, you need to actually go out and work and fix this, because there's actually a big problem. So if you use GitHub or I can't say the stupid name, you need to go out and reach out to GitHub. They have some information here. This link will be in the description as soon as this video is done, and go check that out. So I know that Travis CI is actually a big one. This one hit my open source projects, so it really wasn't a problem, although it is a problem because this is a fantastic man in the middle. So even if it's open source and it's not like they got access to your code, you still need to take precautions, because this is how they're going to do something like a man in the middle NPM attack. So please go fix that. Don't trust Travis. That's right. He's a jerk. All right. So this right here was another one here. I know a lot of people use Confluence and Jira, and this one is here. There is, I don't remember this one. Oh, this was something just interesting. Microsoft disrupted a Russian cyber attack targeting Ukraine by seizing domains. This is not something out of the ordinary. They do this all the time. This was more important. This is the one that I thought was probably more important. I know the community uses NGINX a lot. There is a big 0-day vulnerability that you need to be checking out if you use NGINX. That being said, you should patch. It's a pretty severe vulnerability. So there also are some mitigations here, so you can look at those. I think patching is the best mitigation, though. But yeah, so anyways, if you're using NGINX, that's something to be aware of. Let's move on. This is also something interesting that I found out. I haven't had an Atlassian disruption. Have you? Has anybody else had one? So I guess that, and this isn't the only one. I found actually a couple of them here. I found several news articles about an Atlassian outage, and I found this weird because I kept checking my Atlassian. I use Atlassian, and it's been fine. And if you read these, there's been, I guess it's only like 400 of their several thousand accounts, but I don't know where they had that statistic, but it's not affecting me. But I guess it's been going on for weeks, or could be going on for weeks. I don't know. Has anybody else been hurt by these? I mean, that really sucks. A lot of people really trust their workflows to Atlassian. I know a couple of companies that would be really screwed if this happened to them. So like, and Why is this in security? Why am I making a big deal on security? Well, part of security is availability. That's why a DDoS is part of security. If they can make your service unavailable, that's security. Now, I have no information, and I don't believe that this is a attack, but availability is security in the end, and it's not available. Yeah, anyways, I found that this was really, really horrifying, that it's been like 2 weeks of an Atlassian outage. Usually outages are like a day for the worst ones. You're like, wow, that service was down for a day, and that was horrifying. 2 weeks seems a little extreme. Anyways, I haven't been affected by it. Didn't know if anybody else had been affected by it. Please let me know if you have. I'd be interested to know, just as a fact point. All right, let's move on. Cisco vulnerability lets hackers craft their own login credentials. That sounded horrifying, absolutely horrifying. So if you use Cisco to warn about a critical vulnerability, it is a score of a perfect 10. If you've tracked CVS's, you know that a perfect 10 is very hard to achieve. A perfect 10 basically says that a 6-year-old, not even a very intelligent 6-year-old, can basically hack you. So basically, I could have hacked Cisco in our live stream. That's basically what it's saying, and it's not very good. And this was in their wireless LAN controller, which I think actually makes it even more horrifying, because all you had to do is connect to their LAN. So yeah, anyways, pretty bad. Perfect 10 score, not the Olympics. All right. Over 16,000 sites hacked to distribute malware via web redirect service. Yeah, so no surprise here. No surprise. Okay, so yep. Moving on. On top of this was not a GitHub security. Now, this one was about GitHub themselves. This was an issue with the security tokens. This is about Git. And GitHub is actually really good about posting these security bulletins about themselves. You're right, Russell. 2 weeks of an outage is definitely going to hurt their nines a whole lot. Now, interestingly, I don't know how you report nines if it's only part of your infrastructure that down. So if only 200 out of your thousands of customers are down, do you count it as an outage? I don't know. Or I don't know exactly how that incorporates, but it should hurt their nines. Man, even me, like, would I recommend a company join Atlassian if I know that this is a possibility? Man, that hurts. I don't know. All right, so this one was released. This is, I guess it especially, I was reading it, and it especially hurts Git for Windows. Now, this is not GitHub again. This is Git, your local Git on your local machine. But yeah, it's Git for Windows, and if on Linux you're using a multi-user machine, and I don't know if there's any implications on Mac at all. Probably a multi-user Mac. I didn't read anything specifically about Mac, but anyways. So you should go ahead and update your Git, but especially if it's on Windows or a multi-user machine, as it lets other users elevate their privileges, basically. So yeah, not great. I don't know why I have the Git documentation up. I don't know why that was my next tab. But if you were wondering what Git is, here is the Git documentation. That's what I was meaning to say. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea why that was the next tab. All right. And then one of our last ones is there was a vulnerability on the internal credential access for the RDS service. So you can check out the AWS security bulletin. They do a pretty good job, and they have the affected versions and mitigations if you need them. So go ahead and check that out. And I just had to put this in here. Ethereum keeps trying to get off GPU mining. Why is this insecurity? I don't know why this is insecurity. It's supposed to be after cloud, but this is just in here. They're still having problems. It was supposed to be like 2 years ago that they were supposed to go to proof of stake and get off of GPU mining. What's gone wrong? Does anybody know? I don't know. I don't follow it that closely, but I just know that it's been a while. It's supposedly in plan proof of stake since like 5 or 6 years ago. Still not there. Still don't know why that tab's here though. So let's move into our cloud information. So let's talk about the clouds. Again, Google does one of the worst jobs of collecting, man, my English, all of the stuff that is new and might be interesting. So I had to do it for you guys. Hey, how are you? I'm doing well. Hopefully you are doing well as well, especially if you are from Ukraine. Hopefully you're safe. Yeah. Craftman. All right, so there was some research, some other stuff. 2 things on Google Cloud. You should check out this link here for their data recap. They had some interesting things in their data recap, especially this. So basically, there's some product announcements here that if you're running in Google Cloud, you're going to want to check out with their Big Lake, Spanner, and Vertex AI were the big ones to me that you should check out. Other things that they were here is some customers to learn from. And so this one right here, this Wayfair one, unifying your data for limitless innovation. This one I found really, really cool. I haven't actually watched the other two. The other two could be really fantastic. I only have a finite amount of time in a week. So definitely check those out. And didn't actually look at these other things. So there you go. That's all I can really talk about with any level of security or confidence, but definitely check those out. Another thing that I kind of found not that well announced was their cloud data loss prevention. I didn't really find a good announcement on this, but automatic DPL is on for BigQuery is now generally available. I think this is a really big deal. Automatic DPL is really, really cool. And is probably a big deal. Probably a big deal. I don't run on Google, so anyways, you should go check out. I guess here's their announcement page from April 14th. You should go check it out. I wish that this was listed in their what's new, because I think that these are the types of things that I would really like to show you guys, but it's very hard to find. Anyways, this is what's new. It's out there, and I think it's probably the biggest thing that's come to Google for a little while. So go check it out if you run on Google. All right, general availability. Let's talk Azure. Azure Cosmos DB Autoscale RU's entry point is 4 times lower. If you don't understand what that means, it means that you can get a smaller Cosmos DB Autoscale. So basically, it doesn't make as big of jumps. So that's cool. It's nice. It's nice. It means that you don't over provision as much when you jump up. That's cool. And then there is now in preview Azure Virtual Machines with Ampere Ultra ARM-based processors. This is just their ARM. It's like the Graviton of AWS. So now really the only person that hasn't done this is GCP. Where are your ARM-based? Where are your cost-effective, power-effective instances? I still haven't seen any. I don't run in GCP, but I don't think that they have. Do they? They have to have ARM processors. Before I make that statement live for all 6 people, I have to go check. 1 second. GCP ARM instances. They have to have ARM instances, don't they? General All right. I don't know that they have any. Does anybody know? Let's see. All right, I'm gonna just have to find this out next week. I feel like they're not. I feel like they have AMD and Intel. So yeah, they have Intel processors, AMD. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So I was right. I was right. At first, I was like, man, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, Google, I'm calling you out after I verified. You need to have your ARM processors out there. All right, let's talk about AWS Fargate. Our Fargate now provides faster scaling of applications. I've not actually used Fargate in production, so I couldn't tell you if there was really a delay. And the problem you'll have here is there's always a lag when you start to auto scale. But generally, if that lag happens after you try to scale, your application's already on fire. I remember 5 years ago or something like that, we were just adopting Kubernetes, and we basically had this problem is where we would get into a bad situation because we didn't scale fast enough when there was peak demand. And our ramp up was, we had a unique data set, and our ramp up was fairly fast when we started to need to scale and scale back down. And if you didn't scale fast enough, now our solution then was we actually knew when our curve was and we would pre-scale. That was our solution then. Anyways, they're making it 16 times faster. Now, they didn't show how they took this metrics. That would be a really cool blog article on how they determined that it scaled 16 times faster. Measuring the performance of scaling is interesting. And I would love to read a blog article on that right there. But if it's 15 or 16 times faster, that's quite a bit faster. Now, it could have been really slow. Again, never really used it. All right, introducing the Amazon CloudFront Ready program. So this is a new thing for AWS partners with software products that integrate with Amazon CloudFront. So if that's you, you should definitely check it out. So yeah. Introducing DevSecOps solutions for AWS partners. So I know that one of HashiCorp was one of the first ones that was released with this. Basically, this is like a badge of approval for your cloud providers or for your partners, your AWS partners for DevSecOps. And so HashiCorp, I know, was one of those that released with this. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, anyways, I feel like I should say more about this because it is interesting. Anyways, yeah, it's just partners that have demonstrated technical proficiency and proven customer success delivering software products that help customers integrate across. Again, it's a badge of approval that says like this AWS approves of this person. So it is cool, and if somebody has this, it means a lot. I think. I don't know. I haven't seen it in fruition, but I know HashiCorp has done a lot of this stuff and has done it quite well. All right, so Cloudflare partners with Kentik to enhance on-demand DDoS protection. This is in cloud because Cloudflare is really a cloud provider at this point. Anyways, we have seen this back and forth between Google, Azure, Cloudflare, and AWS on all bragging on stopping the large. It's like they one up each other. They're like, oh, you stop that size of one, and it looks like Cloudflare has decided that it's going to try to one up all of the other ones. I don't actually remember who's holding the golden trophy of largest DDoS attack at this moment. I think think it was Azure, but I think Cloudflare took it back like a month after Azure took it. Anyways, they are working very hard to make it even better. So if you're a site that happens to get DDoSed a lot, you might want to check out Cloudflare. Now, I don't necessarily like it when they put the word magic in there, because generally I think of this, the magic mouse. And there is nothing magic about this mouse, considering that you have to charge it from the bottom. Nothing magic. This is one of the worst conceived ideas on the planet, and has ruined the word magic for me. Also, Ruby ruined the word magic for me, because everything happens automatically. Please, Cloudflare, don't name anything Magic Transit. All right, let's talk about our Kubernetes. You might be right. It might be Azure that's currently holding the largest DDoS. I try to track it. It's an interesting thing. Next week I'll have that stat for you guys. All right, let's talk about Kubernetes. As we've already stated, Kubernetes has delayed the release. Now, I haven't actually been tracking. I didn't follow this discussion, and I kind of looked it up a little bit. I didn't have the time to really dig into exactly why it got delayed this long. It's not quite a month, but it's almost a month delay. So again, not really sure. I don't know everything that went into that conversation. So anyways, Kubernetes got delayed. Another thing was this CNCF annual survey. Now, it was actually published on February 10th, but I never covered it, and that was my bad. The annual survey is pretty good, and it pretty much says that Kubernetes is mainstream now. I forget where that stat is, but oh, here we go. 23% of developers are using Kubernetes. I would say that that's pretty mainstream, at least in the US and Europe. I guess Europe has a much higher adoption. That actually no, that doesn't surprise me. We have a ton of legacy software here in the US, and it's very difficult to break into that. So I guess Europe does too. I don't know why I was saying that. I don't know why this happened this way. Anyways, definitely an interesting read. I could summarize it, but I think I would have to do an entire video. Would you guys like an entire video, like an actual recorded video on this, on me covering things like the annual surveys? I could do that, because it actually covers like some really interesting demographics of who responded, what they did in their careers. I know there's several platforms that do these, and I could either lump them all into a single, like a once a year single video, or I could do one for each of the main ones. So the ones I'm thinking of is the CNCF, just because we cover a lot with Kubernetes, and the Stack Overflows. So let me know. And the magic mouse is magic because it's unconventional. Look, I think I'm with Russell that it's magic that they were able to sell it. This is why I believe Apple has the world's best salespeople. This right here, this device. And everybody that says that Apple is function over form, I just hold up this. I will never sell this. I don't use it. I will never sell this, because every single time people argue with me that the Apple is all about function over form, I present this to them. I present this. A single button. Who could need more than one button? Who wants to try to hold the mouse still while swiping and crap on top of it? And who wants to flip it upside down on top of itself to charge it, where you're going to clicky click the button, so you have to turn your computer off or disconnect it first? Who... I could make a video on that mouse. I could make a video on all the ways that went wrong. Anyways, I think that Russell has a good point. Who takes a Kubernetes survey? People interested in Kubernetes. I don't know exactly the test methodology. This is, again, where I could go into a video and like actually dig into how they did it and, some of the things that they brought off of it. So yeah, let me know if you guys would like a video on that and want me to spend my time digging into some of these, because a lot of these surveys actually have some useful information for you too. I know that some of us actually make decisions on what our company is going to support in the coming years. Not sponsored by my company, but my current company made a bet several years ago to make an open source operator for our database, and it was all understanding the trends that are moving forward and how people would like to run a database in the future. And so yeah, definitely I think that these are useful to understand. Anyways, let me know. Let me know if you want me to break down these in an actual video, if you want me to do it in like an hour-long one and do all of the annual surveys, or if you just want me to do each and individual one. Either way is fine. All right, I found this, Ansible versus Kubernetes, DevOps tools comparison, and I didn't want to bring it up, but then I brought it up because my first gut reaction to this is they're separate tools for separate things. And they are. They are. And the reason I bring it up, and the reason I actually recommend you to read it, because I do recommend you to read it, is the person actually thought about Ansible, what it does, what it doesn't do, and Kubernetes and what it does and doesn't do. Now, I disagree, because they'll see here like features, automation. I don't know that they know what cluster API is. Suitable for front-end development. This is funny. Anyways, but the reason I do is I think that there's a lot of misconception around Kubernetes and what it's good for and things like that. And I know I bring this up a lot, but this also proves to me that this is still a true statement. Comparing Ansible to Kubernetes is apples to oranges. It's not even in the same ballpark, in my opinion. It is a container scheduler, and Ansible is a configuration management. Like, the tools' names and descriptions don't even, but people are comparing them. Anyways, this is why I think you should read it, because this misconception is out there. And if this is to believe, Fortune 100 companies trust Tandem, this is horrifying. Anyways, I'll leave a link for it. This is interesting. For the love of God, stop using CPU limits on Kubernetes. Very much a clickbait title. And yeah, I don't know if I agree with it or not. I agree with many people don't understand why CPU requests are sufficient to protect. I don't know. I'd love you guys to read and comment on what you guys think about this. I use CPU limits, but it's caused me to rethink whether I use CPU limits. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not saying that I have jumped on this. I think that this is interesting. I think that they make some cool stories to dumb it down to a stupid mind, and I like it. I don't know if I agree or not, though. All right, so let's jump into just random stuff. That's the last of our Kubernetes stuff. We have some random stuff, then we have some projects, and we'll talk about them. Ubuntu 22.04 is due to release on April 21st, so that is very soon. So you're going to be able to release up to that. Bring some cool updates to Wayland if you're excited about Wayland and can't wait for Wayland to actually exist as a real thing in Linux. Yep, it also brings more UI stuff. Don't really care about UI. I use i3 for the most part. So that's that. Yeah, so. All right, I found this article here. 6 reasons why more automation means more secure software. Now, I have a caveat to this. And this is something my swim coach. I used to be in shape. I used to be very physical. I used to swim a lot. And my swim coach had a saying. He said, it's not practice that makes perfect, because people used to say practice makes perfect. He said perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice bad things, then you're never going to get good or more secure. And what stood out to me here, and what I think people need to have as a caveat when reading an article like this, is practicing good automation makes your software more secure. And I would agree. If you're doing it and putting the thought into it, just throwing automation into there doesn't actually make your application more secure. Because if you throw in some bad automation that's going to do, just pull in a random key that you don't know exactly where it's from, then you've just added automation that somebody can hack, and you wouldn't actually know that it's been compromised. So you really need to practice good automation that has good controls on it and good reporting on it, so that you know these things. So anyways, other than that, I think that they have some good points. Automation standardizes security testing. I would disagree. Automation can standardize and should standardize security testing would be a better statement there, or a better way to read it. Automation frees developers to focus on innovation, as long as your developers aren't focused on innovating your automation, because sometimes you can get down in a rabbit hole on some of those things. Yes, maybe. AI is not part of DevOps, but cool. Anyways, it's a good article. You should read it. I just have a lens that I read all of these things through. I don't know if you guys care about my lens, though. Wayland does exist, Russell. Thanks for calling me out. Actually, it was in Ubuntu 21, I believe. Wayland does exist, and you've always been able to run it. It has not been a first-class citizen for a long time. Wayland or Ubuntu 20 tried to make it a first-class citizen, I believe. Don't quote me on the timeline, but I think it was Ubuntu 20 that tried to make Wayland a first-class, Ubuntu 19 that tried to make it a first-class citizen. In Ubuntu 20, they repealed it. In Ubuntu 21, they made it a first-class citizen again, but it was kind of a second-class citizen, and I believe in 2022 or 22, they have made it a first-class citizen again. So it's been a journey. Maybe I misspoke a little. It has been a thing. I'm sorry. But it's like why I don't use Sway. I would love to use Sway, but it doesn't work as well as X3 does with screen recording. So yeah, I haven't actually been able to get capture cards to work as well. I wasn't saying anything bad about Wayland. Do you know why Wayland hasn't been a first-class citizen? It's not Linux. It's not Wayland either. Neither of those are the problem. It's freaking NVIDIA who wouldn't freaking support it in their GPUs. That's why Wayland has had such a rocky path. And it's frustrating. Don't get me on this. We have other content to cover. This is the engineering blog post of the week. Joseph Mate, would love to talk to you. I love your blog post. It was super cool. Basically, talking about misconceptions about the connections a server can consume on a single port. And it went through experiments that they tested with, and they talked about practical limits and theoretical limits and all of those different things like that. It was actually really, really cool, and I liked reading it. It doesn't really affect me. This was just how blog articles should be read, and kind of solved some misconceptions on my part. I would have actually I would have actually been on this, can only accept 65,000 connections, and that it consumes the whole port. But that's not necessarily exactly true. Now, are these practical? Not really. Not really. But anyways, good article, and definitely, I think it's a must read. Definitely a must read. Okay, so this was meant to be over here with my other Ethereum. This is also how cryptocurrency is helping fund North Korea. Yes, that's a fun one. All right, DeepMind launches GPT-3 rival Chinchilla. First, who named this Chinchilla? Please, let's not name it Chinchilla. It's looking to be good. I haven't used it, but it's looking to be good. We'll see if it actually works out well. I don't know that much about it. Let's move on to something interesting. These are a new product. So open sourcing Feather, LinkedIn's future store for productive machine learning. I don't even know what that means, but I guess it's like trying to make machine learning more productive. It's basically pipelining for machine learning, which is something people are trying to do. So here you can kind of see how they're trying to uncluster it and make it a little bit better. That being said, talking about clustered, there's a special episode of Cluster coming up this Thursday. I'm going to leave linked in the community. It's going to be me and David versus the entire community, and they're doing some really, really malicious things. I know Russell is, so you should definitely check that out. We'll see how many days off I need from work to recover from that. All right, another project that came out that I was more interested in when I read it is this Nitric. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's like Kubernetes. It's like a Kubernetes project because you can make your app and it will run on Azure GCP." And I don't know that I'm that excited about it anymore. I'd love to hear your guys' input on it. But it's like you can write a TypeScript app, like a REST endpoint, and then deploy it to everywhere, and it has a few different things that it deploys that it can deploy. I'm not sure that I'm as excited as I was, because I really do like the whole like Kubernetes being the server or the OS for the cloud, so that you can just make your thing run on Kubernetes and run it anywhere. Now, all know that I have my caveats to that. If you write all your own stuff and don't use any of the cloud providers, that's great. But that also means storage, because you have to use the freaking cloud provider storage. So Kubernetes doesn't hold to the whole one app, run it everywhere. So I'm still looking for that. This is also just not that. So interesting, though. Interesting, for sure. Talking about machine learning for everything. Cookie Enforcer is a machine learning based proposed browser extension that rejects optional cookies in your browser automatically. I don't know if this is real. That's what Cookie Enforcer does. I want it. I want it to reject all cookies. How about that? How about them apples? All right. Home automation, anyone? I know I do all my own home automation with Raspberry Pis. It's probably the only real use I have for Raspberry Pis. That being said, this company, Istion, I think that's how you pronounce it at least, seems to have gone dark. And it's like the worst way. Things just stop working. It's not great. So if you have this and have any input on it, let me know. I don't know anybody that actually uses it, but yeah. It's going to be Rockhode's 200th video. Okay, everyone. Everyone that's watching right now, stop. there is going to be a live stream this Thursday. I think it's Thursday, not Wednesday. This Thursday, where Rawcode and I try to fix maliciously broken Kubernetes clusters. It's going to be probably horrifying for Rawcode and I. You should join it. Absolutely. The dude puts on amazing work for debugging Kubernetes. I cannot tell you how much I have learned from him, from the videos, and the teams that participate in that. You should go check it out. Join the live stream, watch the old videos, and support the work that he's doing because it's really, really great work. Really fantastic work. I'm actually going to leave a link in the description of this video, so if you're wondering where that video is going to be, you'll have a link. All right. I found this particularly interesting, and the biggest thing was not the DBMS specifically, but the on-premise has actually continued to grow. Now, on-premise has grown slower, but it's continued to grow. I almost thought that with the prevalence of the cloud, it would actually start to shrink, but so far we haven't actually seen that. It's just been the ramp up of the cloud, and it's grown slower. Really interesting, really cool. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if any of you use Kotlin. I've kind of been watching it because I wrote a little bit of Kotlin the other day, and it was horrifying. It still runs on the JVM, which is horrifying. They say it's simpler, but I don't know if I agree with that. Anyways, KTOR 2.0 is released, which if you're using it, I think that this is a pretty big release of it. All right, ZapLib is an open source library for speeding up web applications using Rust and WebAssembly. You know that this, in my open source projects, you know if I find a cool Rust project, I'm going to have to give it a shout out. And WebAssembly is awfully cool, mainly because I really dislike JavaScript as well. I dislike a lot of languages, it turns out. Actually, I think I dislike all languages to a certain extent. As I think I'm going to make a Rust video, you can see that I even dislike Rust a little bit. I just think it's the best of the worst. Well, all of them are the worst. So, anyways. So, really cool. WebAssembly is really awesome, and this, I haven't used it, but it looks really, really cool. I read this blog article by Corey Quinn. Corey Quinn, prolific Twitter user, and he talks about credentials using Granted for AWS. So I had to look it up, and it's an open source project here. Granted, the easiest way to access your cloud, and it even allows you to have different tabs with different accounts, and it has some Firefox and Chrome plugins, and it works on your favorite OS. I haven't used it yet. Corey Quinn does a ton of stuff in AWS. He seems to like it. I'll leave a link to both his kind of review of it and praise of it, really, as well as the link to Corey Quinn. If you know one thing here, you didn't actually link to Granted, and Granted is not a searchable term. You search Granted, and it gives you the definition of Granted. So please go ahead and put a link in there. Anyways, I have it for you. And I don't know, maybe it's pretty cool. Federating and understanding logins to the different clouds, especially most of you probably have multiple accounts, because that's how it's usually broken up, is sometimes a challenge. All right. So, Thursday, Russell is bringing something truly evil. We are all expecting it. I'm expecting tears. I will cry openly on stream with Russell's break. All right. Well, that is pretty much all I have for this morning. Now, I really love your guys' feedback. Do I move the live streams to another channel? I really have been struggling with this, and let me break it down to you really quickly. Really, my goal is to help people. That's my true goal to go out there with. And so I really am opposed to clickbait. I don't like it, and I really dislike it. But part of me says that to help people, I need them to click on and discover and find. And YouTube praises this type of behavior. And so part of my thinking here is to then help people, I need to actually play into some of YouTube's. I hate that when they say the algorithm, really dislike that. But I need to play into what YouTube promotes, what people actually click on, and those types of things. And I honestly think that live streaming actually hurts it. And here's why. Is because people will find my long form content, they will like that, but then the next promoted thing is the live stream, and they're not into these live streams, into these news things. And this is why I think that actually moving them out would actually be helpful. And I've actually done some experimenting with this that actually kind of proves this. So I didn't live stream for a couple of weeks when my son was in the hospital and crap was going on. And I actually got more subscribers during that period. And then I started to archive these videos very aggressively, so that really they're only live, and then you actually have to go into the playlist if you want to go find them past a week on. And the same thing happened as I started to get more subscribers. Anyways, this is just what I've been thinking about. If I really want to help people, do I need to play into what YouTube wants a little bit more and what that actually means? Now, I like these. I like the community we have here. Like the 10 of you that watch this are fantastic people, and I absolutely love you, and I wouldn't want to give that up. But maybe we move it into its own channel. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, or if you guys like it here with this, maybe we just leave it as it is, and I'll just archive them aggressively. Love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that, and yeah, let me know. You can join the Discord if you like. We actively talk in Discord quite a bit. And you can leave me comments on the videos. I love it, and I try to respond to all of them. Anyhow, that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you guys next week.